acknowledgments. I want to thank music for inspiring me to remember what this piece is really about, and to that extent I want to thank all of the good people in the world. Embrace your virtues and strengths because our flaws are not worth dwelling upon. Most of all, I want to thank you. Forward. I'll make this quick. I wrote this over the course of 2 nights, 2 sittings. I got the idea that it was as gossamer as most passing thoughts are, but the song playing in my ears at the time made me run with it. So I ran, and I didn't stop until I reached the end of my valve. The only goals I have in sharing this is to garner feedback of any kind and hoping that a certain audience read it. Keep an open mind, enjoy, and provide feedback. In that order, preferably. I also have recorded a reading audio for this piece in my voice, and it's available online for your free ears. If you're listening now, know that feedback from you as a listener is just as important as from a reader. I recorded this in 3 sittings as per 3 chapters. It is not perfect, but as you read or listen on, you'll realize that there is more to us than that. Chapter 1. I took the microphone last night. The cold steel screamed quietly in my hands, clammy and trembling. My lips touched the mesh briefly, and my voice wept the veracity as if it were blood. My eyes expanded color, but my lids drooped lazily. I saw everyone in the room for what they were, the beautiful, the ugly, the frightening. There were specks of heaven in the form of people I couldn't explain with words, even if I were the man himself. Instead, my throat reverberated softly, and I spoke of you and your features. Your skin irrelevant, but existent nonetheless. Soft, I can only begin to imagine. Your lips, features I've longed to taste, but can't dream of ever acquiring. The nimbus encompassing you, every time we meet, even for brevity, is most enthralling. I felt my lungs shrivel at the sight of you, and I felt a fool seize my throat, claws dug beneath the skin. What little I had to say was not worthy of your ears. You are not a deity, you are not an angel. Perhaps this is why I'm so baffled. How a human can be so beautiful beyond the skin or her carnal features, and why my callous hands will never have the joy of gracing her cheeks. My soul bled for you that night. My pores cried more than my eyes did. They never tasted the slightest tear. My vision was as clear as it had ever been. I have seen a nimbus like yours far too seldom in my young life to feel comfortable with my future, to feel safe in this world crisp at the edges, parchment dappled with too much ink and not enough style. It is people like you and the too few whom I pass on a monthly basis on the streets that I sustain a morsel of hope for this planet. I would like to believe there are more. So I sing of you to keep my faith alive. My voice is almost as precarious as my hands have become, but never the words that breathe. I couldn't be so sure of anything in my life. Passing from your aura to your gaze is like crossing a bridge flooded with water. You know you're going to drown, but you have to reach the other side. And by the time you're halfway, you're out of your head. You're so out of your head, you might as well be walking on water for all you care. My eyes lock with yours, and I'll jump off that fucking bridge as soon as I know they'll be the last things I ever see. Whatever my logic is, I know it isn't right. I know that my love, if such a flimsy word is righteous for this emotion, for you is somehow or another misplaced. I am confused and imbecilic for believing this way. And then I see your eyes again, and I tell myself it's all bullshit. All my doubt for what I feel is bullshit. I will fall knee first into wet cement knowing that the acid in my veins speaks the truth in my brain. The connection between my gaze and my heart is a rusty link of chain to say the least. I am as at fault for falling for you as I am at fault for being unnaturally afraid of arachnids. The microphone might as well have been unplugged last night. The people sitting in the crowd were dumbfounded, bug-eyed if not falling asleep. Where was I, a fucking AA meeting? I can't recall, but the place felt dead. I saw mostly bleakness in the sea of people before me. There were a couple of beauties, and they seemed to glow subtly with recognition. Did they know? Could they see me too? And I ponder with an order of selfishness how I appeared to them. With all my regrets and all my shadows of my past nipping at my heels, did they see a shroud of murk on the stage? A silhouette of darkness outlined with a glow, or a glow outlined in darkness? Or neither, an ambivalent figure of neither color nor light, as bleak as the mesh into which I sang. I felt like I was moaning more rather. My voice wept and bled all right. My voice was only the tongue for the heart, though. I've always known this. Plug my heart into a Fender amp and let me emotionally cripple the audience. I will blow their minds and they will call the police. I'll spend the rest of my life bouncing off padded walls in some building where they have Bugs and Tom and Daffy stowed away. I've got too much bitterness and too much sweetness for any one group of the general public to digest without developing IBS right off the bat. I want to see you again. It's already been a Saturn stopwatch since I've let your gaze wash over me. My skin hasn't crawled that way in ages. Time is irrelevant, only light, only the misinterpretation of luminance from your eyes. And the sad thing is I haven't even mentioned your voice yet. As if my problems weren't sizable enough as they are, your shortcomings never seem confident enough to shake my hand. They hide in your abysses, diffident and daunted. By what, I can't imagine. My flaws are enough to pack a dozen dump trucks to the rim and still have some left over to haul at a landfill on Staten Island. Sometimes I reckon that my flaws are so much that they blind my view of your own. Am I so naive to believe you don't have any? Everyone does, even those with coronas brighter than yours. Now there's a laugh. I don't think I've encountered any of those yet. Nonetheless, it has become obvious enough. I'm too wrapped up in my own faults and your own gifts that I cannot see past the haze they form when collision occurs. I want to press my face against the dashboard and sever the seatbelt from my body so that I may fly through the windshield and into the chaos of it all. Sometimes I beg the disarray to rape my world so that I can realize this is all one big chess game whose ultimatum is utter bullshit. And then it hits me. It hits me like a metaphor with no sense but all the truth in the world. This disaster has already happened. It continues to happen on a weekly basis, if not daily. My own will is to blame, perhaps, or maybe it's just my conscience playing games with me. But aside from this violation, I see the world as it is. I do not live in a dream for what I see. I do not breathe in a nightmare for the limits and extensiveness that I'm subjected to in full clarity. Neither burden nor gift. Although I do have a feeling that, without your aura so palpable to me as it is, I would still be able to perceive it in one manner or another without the sight I've been given. And then I hear your voice. Am I the only one being delusional here? I am, aren't I? I'm some kind of joke, a big decadent chunk of naivety. I'm like that last slice of cake that you know you shouldn't have because it will mess with your stomach for the rest of the night and possibly give you problems in the morning. And then my heart squeezes and hiccups. Forget the nonsense, forget the self-dissuasion. I know what I feel and I know it's real no matter how ridiculous it might seem. Your voice isn't angelic. It isn't godly. It isn't the voice of a harp or the keys of Mozart's piano off your tongue. Let us be reasonable people here. Your voice is normal. I cannot place why, but it is beautiful nonetheless. It is normally beautiful and beautifully normal, and yet somehow or another I detect a savory uniqueness to it. I know what you're thinking. I'm fucking crazy. How can something be normal but special at the same time? I don't know. Ask her. Every word you speak catches my ears as strongly as it does lasso the veins of my legs. I stand still. I let the waves of reality crash into me, and I am your world's audience in one person. I am all ears, all mind, and all heart. I will listen and I will respond and sympathize. And I will fall for your deceit should you throw any my way. Why? Because I'm stupid. However, with the eyes I've been given, I see that you don't have any to lather me with. Even if it was well hidden and kept subliminal, you aren't one to subdue me like that. And if you were, then God help me, because I know I won't be able to help myself. As my voice spilled through the mesh last night and filled the practically hollow room, I saw my nearing grave and tasted the dew on the cold night air that will soon surround me. And I continue to sing, crying my feet out, wanting to leave the stage but never desiring to embrace silence.